Hello. So one thing that I found interesting throughout this play was how both the white characters and Mr. Marks and Mrs. Van Buren were actually very sweet to Esther. And while Mrs. Van Buren did make certain comments about how it would be inappropriate to be seen with Esther, she was very sweet and actually developed like a romantic relationship. Whereas I was expecting like racist undertones due to the time period. Two values that I saw in this play were the roles of femininity as well as race. So the feminism aspects play into like the role of the woman during the time period, being there to like support the husband and that she couldn't make it on her own, how she must marry. Not only that, but she gave all of her money to George in order to support him and do all of those things. And then with the role of race, it really appeared as if Esther and George were of a lower social class because of their color. Not only were they illiterate, but that obviously implies that they were uneducated and their family had grown up as slaves, so it was really a lower like social status. Um, One word that I had to look up was the word boudoir, which translates essentially to like a bedroom or an intimate gathering. And this is important to the text because they only, or Esther met a lot of the people in like intimate settings, such as like bedrooms and stuff like that. And I think that that really translated to a lot of like the sexual and romantic tension, especially with Mrs. Van Buren and that kind of thing. I think that this play both reinforced and reinvented my view of the like African American experience, as it reinforced it in the regard that obviously Esther like did have struggles because of her lower social status. Um, Obviously, she was uneducated and illiterate, as I mentioned earlier, and so that kind of was reinforced. But it also reinvented my idea as like the white people weren't all racist, they weren't all mean towards her. And Esther actually had an abundance of money, so it's not like she was struggling financially. She had a ton of money that she saved away in the quilt and was responsible with. So that was reinvented for me. And I do believe that stereotypes, especially towards African Americans, still occur, and that is sad. But I think that one thing that perpetuates stereotypes is media and written word. I think a lot of the time we are, or certain groups of people are portrayed as one way in the media, or somebody carries on false information and says, well, or and says inappropriate things. And the truth is I think what overcomes stereotypes is just exposure. Um, like one example of this is all tall people play basketball, or you have to be tall to play basketball just because we're shown Shaq and LeBron James, who are both 7 foot. Whereas if you were to go to a basketball game, you might see that people aren't all that tall every time. And two questions that I had about this play were if the ending photo scenes labeled like the unidentified Negro couple and unidentified Negro seamstress were in fact real photos that the story was based off of. And another question, were Jewish people discriminated in a similar way to African Americans like prior to World War One? Esther says that she wouldn't be interested in Mr. Marks because he is Jewish, which kind of implies that he's even a lower social class than her.